It was from a long time ago. People probably don't even know what an Erhu is anymore.
But that's why, you know, you miss one day.
Yeah, miss one day and we can just be speaking a different language. Oh, we are blonking up the wrong tree. All right, let's get into this draft. Game number 2, the Gwen is going to be taken away first this time. Last time around, it was Aurora, Varus, and Gwen banned on blue side, as KT are going to remain over there. Pantheon, Poppy, and Azir were the bans on the red side. We'll see whether we do have some differences, as there are, of course, a bunch of champions that are now removed based on Fearless. And here is our first one. The Ambess are going to be taken away.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a shift up because obviously we had that Talia first pick that came through. Won't be the Talia first pick. Won't be the Azir either, because I know for a fact HLE are going to ban that away again. Yep, there it goes. So it'll be interesting to see what they prioritize and try and pick up, especially if they're banning away these top laners. Could be they're trying to set Perfect up for something.
Yeah, it could be an opportunity. As the last ban to come on through here, could be a Varus to be taken away unless they are going to aim for a first pick on that champion. Could be an option. See what they do decide to take away. Instead, it will just be the Varus.
So they've left the Aurora open. Are they going to first pick the Aurora in this situation? Do they feel confident with that? I mean, they could technically flex it, keep that option open.
Is Aurora really a first pickable champion as well? Is that a risk worth taking? Is it even a risk at all?
Yeah, I mean, also Trundle open and available, something they could lean towards. Vi, an option. There's still a lot of options. Poppy was banned here. They're actually going to ban the Aurora themselves, so Poppy is open instead, which was banned last time.
All right, I like it. See what the first pick is going to be here for KT. Trundle is something worth considering. We know that Cuz very much likes the Troll King, and they are just going to lock that one away.
Yeah, I feel like limits, to a degree, the ability to just pick up like the Poppy as a jungler.
Yep.
That Shred very effective against it, and also the pillar you can interrupt. You know, when she charges up her ult, I feel like one of the problem when she charges up her ult to knock away, it's quite hard to interrupt it without just diving into it. You can just pillar to interrupt it.
That works.
Which is pretty potent. Looks like HLE gonna lean towards the Vi. No, changing the mind, going for the Jarvan. So Jarvan, I feel like sometimes when you jump in, you just sacrifice yourself to get the Cataclysm down into Trundle. That's exceptionally true, but obviously a lot of engage potential with that. We'll see what KT go towards to try and avoid being trapped in the Cataclysm with them, though.
Yeah, we'll see whether it's going to be like, you can Orianna with the J4. And wow, I'm a prophet today. What is going on?
You're in good form.
I don't even know whether it's necessarily a good idea, but whenever I say a champion's name, they seem to get picked. Maybe, I think Master Yi fits really well here for KT.
Okay, you're pushing a little hard here.
It's a Teemo angle, I would say. It's probably a good one. I think Kassadin is probably what fits here if a Kayle doesn't. One of those two, I think, are probably what we're going to see.
Feeling very adventurous.
Yeah. He's probably just going to pick Sion, isn't he?
I mean, I feel like maybe, like, if you're going to go mid... yeah, Sion.
No! Oh, I should have stuck with the Master Yi!
Yeah.
Oh, I messed it up. Okay.
You played yourself.
I did.
I mean, super tanky frontline already. The Trundle securing that Sion, and it looks like just going to go Victor in the mid lane.
Okay.
I feel like already with this, you know you have that insane frontline. You know you have pretty strong backline threats just with having that Victor already. I feel like HLE, their goal, even with just these two picks, you're going to be thinking, right, we have to get backline access. We have to work out how we're going to connect onto those targets. And looking at what they're considering here...
Oh, that would be a Zeus Vayne. I don't think he's having the day for it. You know, I think it's an Aatrox day.
Yeah.
Not a Vayne day. The Vayne spotting would be a pretty disastrous scenario. So the Aatrox is going to come on through. Zeus has had some pretty good performances on this champion throughout his career.
Definitely has. I think KT pretty okay with that, though. I mean, it is a good matchup into the Sion. We've seen it do well before. So it's not too much of a surprise to see that come out. But, yeah, I think still within the realms of how the teamfight's going to play out, I think KT still can sort of function within their composition. And it's not going to be a mega pain in the side lane, which I think is something they would have been concerned about. I also think, you know, if Perfect's going to sack waves and just be a support, I mean, you still want to farm on Sion, but I feel like you feel less bad about it when you're on Rumble.
I would agree. you don't necessarily live or die by the damage you do. It's all about how much of a ruckus you can cause. The Bard going to be taken away from Delight. His Rakan probably going to be another option to be removed as well, as a lot of Engage is now going to be taken off the board. And in fact, it's HLE that remove it.
Okay, interesting.
All right.
Civet, I think a good takeaway. I feel like that would have been a decent pickup, the extra movement speed, and also just the fact that you have these two big frontliners to AoE on. Also, you're not going to pick Civet yourselves into Jarvan, as that's a really bad time.
Yeah, what does Docdom do here? I don't really feel like an Aphelios angle feels very good. Is it a Lucian? Maybe not.
I think Aphelios angle wouldn't be great because it's fearless, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. Did I say Aphelios? I think I meant something else. I meant Ezreal. Did I say Ezreal?
I feel like Ezreal's really fallen down in terms of prio. Nico comes out, so again, layering that engage, looking for that backline threat. Could probably just go Kai'Sa here for HLE to round out the composition and go for, we're going to commit to this backline dive.
Yep.
For KT...
It's a Caitlyn Karma angle.
I mean, you could... Something that can get out of the Cataclysm would be ideal. Something with a bit of mobility. Jhin doesn't have that mobility, but you can't operate from a long distance. Your flash is going to be such a high budget ability, though.
Also feels a bit low damage. They're not representing that many tanks, though, and that's Jin's biggest problem.
Yeah. Also, like, even the tankier members, the Trundle's going to shred them.
That's a good point.
So you have that.
What is Wei going to do? Karma. So it is actually the Karma, just not the Caitlyn.
Okay, so a lane that I feel like the Nico can actually struggle into, and especially if you end up going, so the Kai'Sa was pretty obvious. Fully commit to, like, we're going to try and dive the enemy backline. It's a 2-carry composition for KT. If you explode one of those carries, which you saw them do a great job of last game, the damage for KT's composition falls off a cliff. That is the goal of HLE in the 5v5. For KT, I feel like the bot lane matchup in particular, you're going to have a sizable advantage. If you can really put the pain on Viper and Delight, that momentum can carry you forwards. You know, you are going to have this super bulky front line you can play around. I'm just a little concerned because we saw many times before difficulty dealing with, like, flanks from Delight, you know, situations where there was backline access achieved, even if it was in goofy ways, like when, you know, when Zeus and Zeka got on the enemy backline. Yeah, it was goofy, but if that happens with this composition, I think you just get exploded.
Yeah, I think it's kind of awkward comp that KT have put together. And HLE, very clear game plan. You can understand exactly what they're going to do. Still, I mean, if critical mass is hit by this Victor, for example, still will be massive amounts of damage as the game goes on, and having a real tank is going to be great. Trundle is just pretty strong. At this point in time, we know that Cuz very much likes the champion as well. So certainly some upsides here for KT. I don't know whether it necessarily fits together as well as a lot of other compositions, but at least Cuz has now gone back to traditional Trundle. He did used to be Kennel Trundle, which was the cool looking one. Traditional is the best. Yep. Get into the Rift game 2. Ooh, Hanwha fans in full voice today, but the KT fans, you can feel that air of desperation, which is just how being a KT fan is. It's just anxiety, guys.
This would have been big if they'd gotten the, you know, the level 1 Sion bot strategy off, but HLE very cautious about it, pinging question marks as well.
The classic Sion cheese.
I feel like this draft is a bit more what I'd expect in a HLE in terms of like a favorable lane matchup into Viper, and the hope is like you shut Viper out of the game. I feel like last game, even though the matchup was favorable, it wasn't super, they weren't able to garner that much of an advantage. I mean, the problem is as well, you just end up seeing a lot of these earlier swaps away to avoid it. But for Dr. and Wei's sake, I hope they can really put the hit on the Wei and Delight here, more so than they could last time. Yeah. Because if they can put Viper behind, that's a big tick in my book for defeating HLE.
Well, let's see what they can do. I do really love the old school matchup between Peanut and Cuz. It's Commando Jarvan versus traditional Trundle. It's like circa 2012. or something like that. Just incredibly old. Just shows that sometimes the old way is the best, but oftentimes it's not, based on what we saw in the last game. I do want to say that Dokdam's gun control in the last game on the Aphelios was severely diminished. There was a lot of fights where it didn't quite work. So we'll see whether Dokdam can pull himself together here. And this one doesn't need to worry about the guns, just needs to worry about the bullets.
Yeah, he has to worry about the bullet control this time.
Yeah, does shoot Viper with it. That's what you want to see.
If he runs out of bullets in the middle of the fight, he has to do that awkward reloading thing. Yeah, honestly, Delight and Viper trading pretty well into this. Yeah, we saw Viper, the first fourth shot that came in, it was like a Q fourth shot, he barriered at level 1. Like off the rip, and
winding up the clockwork here.
Yeah. And now in the situation where Dokdam and Wade, despite having push, which they are going to have in this lane, we're not actually doing too successfully in terms of these trades. And Dokdam's actually lower HP than
Wow. Being hit by everything. The Inspire Shield does help him out there from Way, but the focus from KT has been hit the wave. And that is providing some issues. There's a dancing grenade, not going to get the optimal damage there as the minion didn't die. That's all right. Cannon secured, reloading, so Wei has to get the minion. But at least it doesn't go to waste. As yeah, Viper and Delight are absolutely fine here in this lane. Here's an example of a wave being shoved in over and over again, but the tempo vibes lying on the other side.
I mean, any situation where
barrier is going to get popped here. Heal as well. Deadly Flourish is going to connect though, and now the Troll King has made his way forward. Viper is just dead. Fourth shot to the noggin, and Dokdam is going to claim it. Great position there from Cuz.
This is big, honestly, because I was about to say, you know, seeing Viper losing lane, winning lane against Dokdam, winning in trades against a Jhin, really just wasn't a good look for the KT bot lane. But this gank that comes in from Cuz, Viper tries to get the passive proc in and gets locked into it by the pillar, isn't able to find the damage. And that kill coming in, that Dirk for Dokdam, is a big takeaway. So just as things are starting to feel a little bit uncertain, it gets turned around. And we see here, Viper got so much confidence. You dodge away the Mantra Q, you get a favorable trade. But the thing is, they knew that Cuz was in the vicinity. They had a ward there, and they committed to this play. A rare mistake and some overconfidence when the HLE AD carry does make him pay.
It's a lot invested. Double summoners from Wei and the barrier from Dokdam from earlier on, so at least HLE will have that advantage, only heal on cooldown on their side of things, but still, great news. First blood going over to Dokdam, going to be a big deal. Zeus needs to just get out of here. Umbrella dashes over the wall. That is a fat Umbral dash. Oh no!
The sad thing is he charged up the Q.
Yeah.
And then Zeus interrupted it, so he didn't get to hit the wave. And then he misses the cannon.
I mean,
it's sad on so many levels.
I would ask for a redo, I think.
I think that's chrono breakable, honestly. Yeah. Is that in the... can we check the rulebook? Can you...
He's probably asking for a pause right now.
If you miss a cannon and you're really sad about it, can you chrono break? Is that...
Maybe, like, if we put it to a vote, I would vote yes. Delight is minioning his way forward as life cannot get any worse. Here for Perfect. He has to flash, and he flashes into the snare. Viper collects a kill for himself at the same time. Kaiser is on a huge winning streak, and maybe this is foreshadowing.
I want to watch the replay because I want to see the timing on that read.
It did look like he read the flash, right?
I mean, he definitely read the flash, but it felt like he threw like well before the flash.
Oh, and then it was just a flash into it.
No, but like he just read it so well. It felt like it was such a good read on exactly where it was going to end up, which is hard in those situations because like there's a lot of specific places you can flash, and it's not that thick of a projectile. But yeah, Delight playing that one so well and getting a kill for Viper.
Another missed cannon. Oh god. Okay, we're going to see it from Delight's perspective here. Yep. There it is.
Oh, he lined it up so, you know, he flashed and it was still going to hit him anyway. Just a great angle. I feel like that's doing the homework, setting the angle up so when you throw it, even if he flashes, he ends up in it. Just good work there from Delight. And Perfect, unfortunately, prayed to it. Now they're looking to dive Zeus. Level 6 could be tricky.
Yep. Cuz pretty scary. But Zeus is going to deal with the wave as best he can. And there is the pullback. They do manage to get at least the plate, as Zeus did have to flash. So decent gank. You're going to get a little bit out of that, but KT probably wanting a little more.
I feel like that's when you know when animals just like try and scare other animals off and they like make loads, you know, they try and make themselves big and scary. Like even he feared the minions. Zeus was kind of doing that, and they kind of just walked away like, okay. And
fair enough, you're pretty scary.
Yeah, he is pretty scary. But I think Zeus happy. He managed to evade the dive, managed to pick up the farm. It was a tricky dive to pull off, you know, with how I feel like the limited burst of Jhin, if you miscalculate slightly and he's left with a bit of health and then Aatrox heals, especially because you don't have healing reduction, you know?
Yep. Because
we've seen supports go to heal instead of ignite. I feel like when you have ignite, you'd feel so much more secure about going for a dive like that. So they don't end up overcommitting. Zeus does survive, losing only that summoner. And we see things just play on.
Well, now Wei is going to get discovered here by Delight's Shape Splitter. And KT have swapped Doctarm up towards this top side of the map. The fight for the grubs could be on as they have just spawned. And there is a fake Orianna ready to support the jungler. As you can see, Peanut moving on down towards these grubbies. Trundle is now making his way over. Cuz is going to turn up into the river here as Vision is getting cleared out, but Banana Brush control going to be there for KT. As the pillar goes down, Delight could be in a little trouble, but there is the Cataclysm. Pop Blossom onto 2, though, is big as the Killer Instinct from Viper is there, but the bullets will rain true. That's going to be a trade. Jungler for support, though. HLE probably still happy. He's perfect getting in amongst it as Delight gets a big heal, and the Deadly Flourish is going to keep him alive. Peanut just going to die. That is the Scion collecting one as Zeus is going crazy in this fight, but Doctarm even more so takes down the Aatrox, and they will be able to collect their prize. Is almost the Void Seeker to find it, but it does not happen, as it looks like they are just going to take one and then back away as Cuz did die earlier on in the fight.
Yeah, ends up a pretty scrappy fight that KT edge ahead on. Cuz can be back there now and can move towards it.
Zeka moving up over a lot of vision, as we can see. Delight being frustrating in the area. This captive audience is just going to annoy Zeka, but he just deals with the wave. That is going to be the focus.
A lot more kills funneled over to these 80 carries, and it feels like the theme is continuing, where it is just an 80 carry-centric series. Looks like Peanut will be the one to get control of this area and pick up those 2 remaining grubs. It's not too bad overall for HLE.
Yep.
Well, they did lose out in the kills during the play.
Only barely is what it felt like.
Yeah,
like, what,
so
3 for 2?
Peanut gets shredded so quickly. Delight gets kind of exploded quite quickly on. A lot has to be committed to kill Cuz. And then we get this kind of re-engage that comes in from Peanut, and he kind of just dies super quickly as a result. Not really in a position to come back in. And Zeus is kind of dealing with 4. Like, Zeka and Viper are trying to deal damage, but not really getting a chance, so it's a 3 for 2 overall.
Gravity field position from PDD, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just meant Delight and Viper could do nothing. As, thankfully for Delight, that is the wrong one, as we do come back to live.
I think BDD just did so much in terms of controlling the pace of that fight and just laying down consistent damage. And really, Viper and Zeka, after that initial impact, it was a good shockwave from Zeka. Viper ulted in and finished off that first target. It felt like they were kind of just limited in what else they could do.
And I know you've been a bit of the Viper donut shop, but I'd like to call myself a bit of a BDD donut shop. I think this guy's pretty good. He's been playing well this year as well. Zeka misses a cannon because of BDD's mind games.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a competition between Perfect and Zeka to who can miss more cannons.
Yeah, it's a handicap. You know, it's hard mode. Not allowed to get cannon money. That might be the thing. As Zeus now has a pretty broken item.
Oh, this is a big spike, and he's coming over to Dragon. I feel like this is one of those moments where you're like shouting at your team like, guys, I want to fight.
Yeah, fight.
Enemy top laner is going to hit the tower, going to get played. Don't care. I want to fight. I want to auto people and heal a third of my health bar.
Well, that might be exactly what he's going to do as Pop Blossom. Yes. Death Ray to come on through there as well as Delight getting targeted here by Doctarm. Peanut taking solo. Oh my god, he's just dead. Subjugate kills him. It's a 3-man shockwave, but where is everyone else? Ox, what the heck? You were watching. I'm watching you watching. And it's another Chemtech soul as Zeus stays alive for a long time. He was probably screaming, fight. But what he did there was die.
Yep, he ran out of health, tried to heal, got a decent amount in, but not enough to survive against all of that from KT.
I do have to say, as far as Chemtech Drake games are concerned, this is a good one.
This is a very Chemtech-y game.
So actually, maybe you're saved. This feels exciting. You know, you've got Sion for the shields, and the healing on Cuz is going to be absurd.
Plus last game,
oh god.
Hextech was kind of fake, so...
Yeah, it didn't really do much of anything at all. Is Death Ray going to be avoided there somewhat by Zeka, but he is still taking a lot of damage. BDD feeling himself right now as 1-0-4 on this Victor. As Killer Instinct Wei is likely just dead. There he goes. Doctom is also going to get punished. Why did this happen? One more auto. He gets the barrier to keep himself alive, and then he's just dead to the Jarvan. So 1 for 2. And yeah, HLE back on the board in a pretty big way is need to break those chains, and BDD does thankfully do so.
Yeah, so one thing that's important about that was a really heavy summoner commit on the bot side, which we can talk about in a second when the replay comes up. This fight initially, Delight doesn't have Flash, doesn't have Rocket Belt yet, so not able to connect on the targets he wants. It kind of just gets locked in. Peanut goes for this play to secure the dragon and just ends up dying as a result of the Subjugate and the Jingle. And then Zeus is just left against 4. Only had the Shockwave for support, isn't able to do much. You see the healing, doesn't really mean too much.
Yeah. And the Shockwave also not doing much.
So we see Viper go in, obviously secures the kill on the way. Doctam does end up getting a kill trade, but the problem is he burns both his summoners to do this. And I'm pretty sure the replay shows him not having it. I don't know if he had it actually. But right now, Delay has Flash, Viper has Flash, Peter has Flash. Doctam doesn't. So, yes, he got that kill in return. But the next fight that happens, I'm just picturing what it means when, you know, Peanut and Delight have their flashes and the Jin doesn't.
I think in the next fight, Doctom needs to hit every bullet like he did in the last one, because I don't know whether he's going to be offering much more than an ulti.
I think what should happen...
Another cannon!
Oh my god, Zeka. I think what should happen is Peanut should just find the Jin and press ult. Okay, apparently Nico didn't have Flash. It's always hard to judge in the spectator client, because sometimes... Okay, it was 10 seconds away, so didn't have Flash there, couldn't have flashed out. But Delight now does have Flash and Peanut does, so I think targeting this 4-1 Jin in the next fight is going to be a way back into the game for HLE.
Well, Peanut and Cuz just going to shake hands, much like they did on Longju back in the day, as Peanut did take over from Cuz's position on the squad. But nothing too much else going to come from it, as a Jarvan behind the Jin is making me nervous, and Doctom should be nervous as well, as this turret not going to save him even a little bit. But the same thing's going to happen here to Zeka on the top side of the map. Anything you can do, I can do the same, says KT.
And nothing really comes from it. So, like, you know, I'm talking about punishing this Jin. Oh, will they find more?
Well, Cuz does have his Trinity Force done. He's pretty scary. And that's 3 people, so he'd be dead if he face-checked. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. He wants the crab. And the Pop Blossom is going to find him. The immediate flash out, though, as there's the knock-up. And I think Cuz will be dead. Yep, no Subjugate going to save you there. And HLE, they set the trap, and it springs real nice.
There's the payoff, you know. They managed to get Doctam easy target without the summoners. Cuz is a follow-up, though. That trade 1-for-1 wasn't really too meaningful. The finding Cuz was enough to get them this Herald. There's just nothing you can do here as the Jin.
Yeah, you watch Peanut come in, you're like, hopefully he can kill the minions.
He did get the minions. It's just the fact that he can flag and drag out again just shows how doomed he was.
The Wei gank. That's pretty cool. Wei gets ulted and asks why, I guess.
Yeah. And then here, the ult's still connecting after the fact. And then even with the Subjugate coming through, just not tanky enough to survive that damage. Skull Crab secured, Herald secured, big boon for HLE here, and gold dead even now as a result.
Yeah. This is a really interesting series. It's actually far closer than I expected. I thought that HLE might have sort of righted the ship a little bit. Viper was going to be too strong, but Doctom giving him a run for his money in this game, even though he is incredibly fed. Like, Viper and Doctom, both of them, just have so much money in this game.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like it makes it difficult for everyone else when you have certain people getting just given a ton of gold and how powerful they can be. But also, BDD is very fed as well.
Yep.
Currently most farm in the game, 2-0-4. Big lead over Zeka. This Victor is going to be a problem. And you know, sometimes I have concerns about these 2 carry compositions, but when the carries are both fed, it makes it so much easier.
Certainly does. I get a bit worried when one of them's Jhin, just because I feel like you do need to be augmented with a little bit more than just 1 extra, but you know, if Cuz can get himself into the right positions, even the Trundle can do a little bit.
Jhin does a lot of damage for 4 whole bullets, and then
reloads for the rest of the team fight. Oh, I've seen this play before. Dr. still doesn't have flash. As Peanut goes pretty deep, Perfect's going to turn up as Viper, oh my goodness, actually almost survives. The fully charged Q comes down and it's BDD that gets the kill. Killing spree for the Victor. And it was almost great news, but the trade of 80 carries makes the Victor even more scary.
Yeah, the timer there. Dr. flash was nearly up, not quite available, but the barrier, the lower cooldown was, and that just bought enough time. They didn't quite have as many members. It was only 2. The light wasn't there, and they just didn't quite have as much damage to finish it off quickly. Now, though,
speaking of finish it off quickly, let's see whether Cuz can get on in there. As Zeus moves over, immediately dashes out. Pop Blossom onto only 1 as Peanut has made it through. Cuz going to be the focus, does have that subjugate and will get taken down as Delight is also dead. The Arcane Storm getting larger and larger as Zeus trying to get himself out of here as the death rate does come on through. They're distracted by the Drake, but KT is distracted by the Aatrox. Bullets raining and he actually collects him. Peanut is going to be able to secure the Dragon though, so HLE walk away with at least that.
This is one of the things with the Jhin coming back from death, is the fact that not only did he die sooner than Viper, but he has Ghost Blade for the extra movement speed, and Jhin can impact the fight from so much further away with his root, with his ult. So Dr. It doesn't matter that he wasn't there initially for the fight. He's able to join, secure that CC onto Zeus.
And his flash had 12 seconds.
Oh, man.
In this play.
Yeah, so they timed the flash, but again, that barrier just buys a bit too much time. Viper not able to escape as a result. Oh, now Viper down sums for the next 5 minutes with that flash. And here, this was a very scrappy fight. You know, they focused a lot on a Cuz, and he does eventually go down. But it felt like HLE just didn't have gas in the tank. You know, a lot of the sustained DPS does come from Viper, who's not here.
Yeah.
The Arcane Storm's just shredding. Zeus kind of left in the middle of people just kind of CCing him. And then again, Dr. here so quickly, able to line up that route, line up the ult.
It's beautifully played. And I think that the longer they go for these plays, as outer turret does go down on the bottom side, that's why the gold is entirely even between these 2 squads. I think as time goes on, though, just to go back to the point, is when Spirit Visage is finished, when more items come in for this Trundle, is like if they do keep trying to kill Cuz first, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because Subjugate is going to get more and more powerful as that one comes in. Going to see the XP, BDD and Zeka. It's a full level between the 2. BDD only needs a couple more.
It's a full level.
Hit that level 14.
3 Rod of Ages completion. Like 3 the full level up from that.
Yeah. So he's going to be 2 levels ahead, and he's going to be level 16 in like 3 minutes.
And the thing is, when you're in a fight and you have champions like Nico and Jarvan, often in a team fight, when Nico and Jarvan go in and they set up the CC and die, you say job done. But into a Victor this fed, you're just giving him power to his ultimate. So if you find that engage and you don't kill Victor, his Arcane Storm is just going to dominate the team fight afterwards. It makes it really hard to navigate. And even if you kill the Jhin, that singular carry being left over, that Victor being alive, might be enough just to carry through the fight. Now, HLE...
Peanut.
They might find Cuz.
They do find Cuz, who is just going to try and walk it off. Might actually be able to make it towards the dead turret as Deadly Flourish connects onto Zeka, and his woes continue. He's trying to get out, but he's tagged as another bullet. Will it connect? The answer is no. Shockwave connects onto only Perfect just to hold him at bay. And HLE, they expend a lot. They do get themselves out, but the defense from KT just looking so much better in this game compared to the last.
The redemption comes through, and that gives them the confidence to start this up. They are a tanky team, and Cuz will heal up if they finish the Adakan, so they decide to start it off. HLE, a lot of tools were invested there. They have to try and prevent this.
Well, Zeus coming in for a flank angle here as Perfect is relatively low. BDD is pawn it off, throws down the ulti here as there's the pause, and it connects onto the entire backline. Dom, it's a decent flash, but they're falling one after the other. KT get disintegrated. It's a triple kill for Viper, and the HLE team fight in this game as well. Just better.
Delight just finds his way in. Peanuts causing a ruckus, distracting BDD, and then Nico finds the angle, finds the knockup, and delivers a swift blow to KT.
Oh man, once again, it was close until it was over. It's kind of what it feels like. In the last game, I guess it felt a little closer because there were Hextech souls being thrown around and weird stuff that was happening, but oh man, that was a backbreaker if ever I've seen one.
Like, Peanut gets the flash from BDD with the ult and the flag and drag, and the team is like moving over, like we have to peel. Our Victor's so important, he's threatened, and Delight slides in and hits 4 here, gets the follow-up route, and Zeka, Viper, and Zeus just move in and churn everyone. It's perfect, and KT just weren't prepared for that.
Oh my god. Just gorgeous. And Viper just able to walk in and kill everyone.
Man, people play hundreds of games of Nico hoping for ults like that. That is just like dream scenario.
Reminds me of Carrier just the other day, as look at that. Yeah, the gold graph was a flat line until it was just a trough. HLE moving into a huge advantage now. 10 seconds until the next dragon. With Otacon as well, that's going to answer a lot of those experience issues that they were having. As BDD with teleport should be able to at least get this tower back towards the top side, but the dragon is not something that KT are going to be fighting for. It's just going to be taken here by Viper. No real response. 3 items already done for this Kai'Sa, and Doctom's ability to have fun in this series is over. It's just not a thing anymore.
I mean, he is just under 2 levels down. Zeus is also 2 levels up. Those XP leads are just crazy. It's only BDD who has an XP lead still. Oh, no. You said his fun was over. I'm looking at it.
Yep, we're watching it end. As now Wei might be the one that's struggling, but the Mega Cone is going to get the rest of KT out of dodge, and Inspire going to help give him the movement speed to survive. But you can see, I mean, it's fear that's driving KT right now.
I mean, that's something KT are still good at. The comp is good at running.
That's a good
They're doing
point.
a lot of that right now. Not so much good at fighting in this position, so they will run away, but their base will be forfeit, at least that tier 2 tower.
Yeah, not going to be able to defend that one. They do have a lot of vision around the Baron, so that is at least something that they will have tabs on. But a 6,000 gold lead out of nowhere, and all of that money is now going to get spent. And we've spent a lot of this game talking about Zeka having a rough time missing cannons and like hasn't really been very impactful. He's 2-1-5.
Yeah.
He's almost got 3 items complete. This Orianna is going to be able to do the Orianna things. It's not like there is a big hole in the mid lane or anything like that as the dust settles. All right. I mean, it's not over. KT can find themselves a miracle fight as well as long as they protect BDD. Spirit Visage is at least done here for Cuz. We're getting towards item number 2 on Perfect. But it's a 7-2-5 Kai'Sa, 3 items complete.
Yeah.
Gonna have an arm guard so soon. And I just think that Viper might be too good.
I mean, the one thing is that he doesn't have...
There it is. Yeah.
I was gonna say, he doesn't have a Seekers, he doesn't have his Zhonya's. So at least if he like goes in and makes a mistake, he can blow, and then he buys it.
Yeah,
so
never mind.
Never mind. Never mind. The hope is if he ends up in a really compromised position, you can punish him. I think it's just the matter of protecting BDD and Doctam and looking for an overstep for maybe the light and getting those resets on the Arcane Storm. BDD is still very strong. He is still 3 full items. This Victor does do damage. Surviving that initial engage, though, that's going to be the big question. And stopping them from doing Baron, which is going very fast, is also a question.
Well, they need to try and get Jhin into position here.
It's just gone.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to do anything to answer this. They do set up the curtains, but Delight, we'll see whether he moves on over. He's going to look for the opportunity. Doctom only gets 2 bullets off. As the Baron was taken, Perfect tries to get in there, but there's the Cataclysm onto BDD. They know exactly who to target, but the flash out is immediate, and Peanut is in a lot of trouble, but there goes Doctom. No answer. Wei is just going to get exploded, and Viper just walks towards BDD. Zaya stands in front. It's another triple for the Kai'Sa, making him double-digit kills here in this game. And Perfect just going to get run down. He'll just be a quadra kill hit. Never mind. It is, in fact, Peanut that locks down the ace. And that's a clean one. Baron's now in tow, and I think HLE just end the game.
Yep, I don't think there's much you can do in this situation. No one left to defend apart from Wei spawning in 5. I mean, Doctum's up in 10. Can they even hold? They're so strong, so far ahead.
I mean, it's at least 2 inhibitors.
You know, it's maybe that base doesn't die right now, but it's
metaphorically dead.
Yeah.
The game is somewhat concluded, as that's always a little bit troll when the back animation is triggered by the clone. As all right, let's check it out one more time. Doctum, I mean, he had to just open the curtains to see what was going on in that Baron pit, because otherwise they'd have no way in.
Yeah. You know, the ult on the Victor immediately forces the flash. But at this point, you know, look how much damage Peanut soaks and is able to flag and drag out again. Viper flies in, one-shots the Karma, basically. And Viper can play with such confidence with the stasis backup.
Yeah.
He just kind of dives in and they just don't do enough damage to him at this point.
And he
really
just
tread through.
He walked over to Wei and then supercharged towards the Victor, and then he was in range before they could even see him. So if we have a look at it here, and then supercharge, and my goodness, the Trundle just exploded.
It looked like he wasn't even trying to kill the Trundle, he just incidentally died.
Yeah, it's like an accidental, whoops, he's dead. As all right, Deadly Flourish is at least going to slow down Zeka momentarily. But KT, I mean, it's metaphorically over. Now it might be really over. Shockwave going to connect on top of Delight. That was a cute ball delivery system. As the inhibitor goes down, down goes both of the carries. So KT completely out of damage. Now, Zeka might be dead because there is, of course, Nexus turrets, but maybe he's just capable of ignoring those as well. As even Zeka with 2.5 items is running the show here, and Wei and Cuz just have to watch as their Nexus explodes. HLE looking so good here in this game against KT. Even though the early game was okay, this man on your screen right here just decides sometimes that games are over.
Yeah, I think ultimately